Hello. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you taking the time to click our video on this channel. Hang out with us for a little bit. I'm Scott. We're going to talk about some RRSPs, and we follow that up with a really? Question mark. So we're going to discuss the characteristics of RSPs and what it means to have one, the contribution limits, and a few other goodies that go along with that. First, we want to remind ourselves it's not what we make, but it's what we do with what we have. So why would we contribute to a registered retirement savings plan? It's a tax minimization strategy, if you would. Two of the three Ds of tax planning are first and foremost here, a tax deduction and a tax deferral. Before we get there, let's start off with a simple fact. In 2020, 6.2 million Canadians contributed to a registered retirement savings plan to the tune of $50.1 billion. So $50 billion in 2020. Fact, that represents 22.3% of tax filers in 2020 that actually made an RSP contribution. So you think, wow, that's a big number. That's a whole bunch of people. What were they trying to do? Well, the motive was a tax deduction. So we want to reduce our taxes. If we put money into a registered retirement savings plan, registered with who? With the CRA. The government knows that we have the money, and they will issue a tax receipt for that money based on our marginal tax rate. That's a good thing because our marginal tax rate is slightly higher than our income tax rate. Marginal tax rate's the amount of tax you would pay if you worked overtime or you got a bonus or you worked overtime. Seems like, holy smokes, where'd all that money go? You were taxed at your marginal tax rate and then your regular deductions. So the good news is when you put money into an RRSP, your tax calculation is based on your marginal tax rate for your refund. Assuming you don't owe any tax, you'll get a check for that money. Now, the money is invested and it will grow tax sheltered. It's going to be tax sheltered. It will grow tax free. It will continue to compound tax free until a later date. We're going to, that's the second D, is defer. We're deferring the tax calculation until a later time. A later time when? Well, when we decide to take that out. And that could be 20, 25, 30, 35 years down the road. We must take it out by the end of the year that we turn 71. So we'll come back there in a minute. But when it comes to the RSP contribution initially, and we get the tax deduction, again, tax minimization strategies, we want to deduct the tax and we're going to defer paying that tax until a later date, as we're assuming that we make more today than we will later on, often called retirement. When we take the money out and of course, making less money, you'll pay income tax on the lesser income than you would pay today. Now, if you really want to hit this thing out of the park and you receive that tax refund, invest the tax refund. Now, this is a piece of the puzzle that many people miss. You make the RSP contribution, assuming you don't owe tax, you get a tax refund. You get a check for that. Invest the check. Now, if you put that in your RSP and you had the contribution room, you're going to get another tax refund. Or you could simply invest it in, say, a tax-free savings account or a non-registered investment account. But that's where you really compound the refund, because now you've utilized it as well. So your money's making money, and now the money that you got back is now invested in making money. Compounding is in the next video. You'll find interesting when we talk about opportunity costs, etc. But that's how you really put this thing together. Now, the other box you want to tick is if you happen to work in an establishment, a corporation, a company that has a group RSP. And there's a matching program in place. You put in $1 and they put in $1, and then you can invest both those dollars. You tick that box and say, yes, I will match the maximum, please and thank you. Now, in that case, you put in $1, they put in $1, you're making 100% of your money before you make any money. And of course, you can put that into an investment, and then that will grow into tax sheltered until a later date. When you leave the company, you want to take that into an RSP in your name. Just a transfer mechanism in place for that. It's a non-taxable event. So, In your higher income earning years, right, when we're talking about this 6.2 million people that contributed $50 billion in 2020, the maximum amount that you could put into your RSP is $27,830. The government sets that formula, 18% of your previous year's earned income to a maximum, $27,830. Fact, the median contribution in that 6.2 million people putting in $50 billion, the median contribution was $3,600. $3,600. Now, we understand the median is a number in the middle of a set of values. Half of the people that contributed put in more than that, and half of the people that contributed put in less than that. So, interestingly enough, 2020 broke a 12-year trend of RSP contributions going down since 2008. Coincidentally, that was the tax-free savings account was introduced after that in 2009. Contributions to a tax-free savings account can be more liquid. It's you don't get a tax receipt for it, but it's tax sheltered, grows tax free. You can take it out tax free. It's off the tax grid. Now, coincidentally, that was for 12 years of a decline. Some would say that tax free savings accounts or a non-registered account could be more flexible in volatile markets than a registered retirement savings plan. Typically, registered retirement savings plans are labeled for or tagged for retirement. So typically one would think, well, at least I won't touch that. On that note, don't hear this way too often. I'm RSP rich, cash flow poor. Please don't be that person. When we do something for 25, 30, 35 years, i.e. contribute to a registered retirement savings plan, and you're trained, your brain, your mindset, your relationship to that money is such that I won't touch it. It's not mine, it's for later. And doing something as a human being for a prolonged period of time is one thing, but 25, 30, 35 years is a really difficult switch to flip the other way. So when I say to you down the road, okay, well, let's take money out of that. Well, we're okay. I don't really need it. If I do, it's added to my income. I got to pay tax on it, I don't know. Do I have to take it out? Well, you don't have to take it out until the end of your 71st year. So at the end of the year we turn 71, we must turn these savings plans into an income fund. Now, the legislation will state that you have to close that RSP. Well, the worst advice in the world you could get would be to sell that. It's added all to your income that year, and you're going to pay a big tax bill. And whatever's left over, you can put in your sock drawer or reinvest or buy a condo in Spain or something. But the worst advice in the world would be to sell the whole thing all at once and pay a massive tax bill on that as it's added to your income. So what does one do? You change the label from a savings plan to an income fund. It's a non-taxable event. You may even maintain your existing portfolio. You don't even have to change the investments inside. But you convert the savings plans to an income fund, and on that note, you must do that before the end of your 71st year, but you don't need to take money until your 72nd year. The government has a chart, tells us how much to take. It's currently 5.28%. It used to be 7.38. They could change that again, but right now it's currently 5.28% of your registered retirement savings plan that you must take out annually, and you can choose to do that monthly, quarterly, or annually. If you don't need the money, then keep it invested all year. It'll stay tax sheltered, grow tax free, stay tax sheltered, and then when pay yourself on your birthday or at Christmas, do some shopping, have a nice New Year's get together, and shelter it as long as you can. Now, again, don't be RSP rich, cash flow poor. Be specific, be deliberate, have purpose, and create a strategy to utilize your hard-earned registered retirement savings dollars. So you want to incorporate that as one of your multiple streams of income later on in life. If we call that retirement or whatever your stage is. Utilize the monies. Now, be cognizant as well that your spouse is the only one that can receive these monies tax-free. It is something happens to you, a qualified spouse will take the plan over, assuming they're appointed beneficiary on the plan, then it becomes his or hers spouse. After that, the CRA will ensure that they receive their monies upon your demise. If you head off to live with the angels prematurely, the CRA, it's a deemed disposition. You are deemed to have disposed or sold everything you own, including your RSPs, before you left. That's added to your income that year, and your final return, terminal return, final return will include a tax bill associated with the RSPs. Okay, so don't get stuck. Bring it into cash flow. Utilize it. Don't forget about them and just say, oh, I don't really need them. No, you earned it, you've made it, you've got it, and be deliberate. Don't cash it out, but have a strategy to bring it out systematically. And, just be proactive, be deliberate. What else did we leave out for you? RSPs, higher income earning years. If you happen to be in a lull or you have a lower income earning year, no worries. You don't have to make your RSP contribution. You want to consider possibly not, because you won't get the tax benefit. But you can carry that contribution room forward indefinitely until your 71st year, and provided you have earned income and it makes sense, you can make that contribution later. Maybe you have a bonus coming up. Maybe you're looking at a different employment situation. You've got an influx of cash, and you'd want to save your RSP contribution or carry it forward for a later date. Another strategy is systematic investing, so dollar cost averaging. It's been crazy volatile markets now. A human being alive on the planet on the right side of the grass knows that it's every opportunity has equal or greater benefits. Well, how does one benefit from these, quote, markets, unquote? Systematically investing or regular investing or dollar cost averaging, volatility becomes your friend. So what that means in English, your share price of something that you buy is down, it's on sale, you want to buy more. This is the only industry where financial services, things are on sale, and people will run from that. So systematic investment takes that off the table. If you're buying great big companies that are paying dividends, there's a slang term called paid to wait. So that dividend continues to come in. You don't need to even be putting your money back into the fund. If you tick the box that says reinvest dividends or distributions, those dividends are coming in and buying more shares at the various prices, dollar cost averaging, if you would, and buying you more shares. And when the portfolio eventually comes back and things go up again, then you have more shares trading at a higher price. And that's how one of the strategies for making money, of course. Now, listen, we a lot of information in a very short period of time in RSPs. Be cognizant of the full scope of contributing. Don't get stuck. Don't put money into a situation where it's going to be fully taxable later on without having a strategy to utilize it along the way. Key fundamentals of all of our investment ideas: income protection, asset preservation, and then looking at how to receive or create and transfer wealth efficiently. So, listen, thank you so much for being here. Let us know in the comments what you think. Like us on the bottom. Subscribe to our channel so that you're made aware of upcoming videos. We'd love to see you on LinkedIn. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. Easy for me to say. Or come to Facebook. Join our private Facebook group at STG Financial Awareness Network. All kinds of goodies in there as well, and invitations to exclusive events there. In the meantime, thanks again. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We welcome you, and be well, be you, and look forward to seeing you soon.